What is up, YouTube? This is Tireless Golem here with another video, and today we're going to be playing a practice match with our 4-mana Blitz deck, the mono black deck that is kind of a brew that just basically tries to get a 4-mana creature out into play as soon as possible. I like this hand a lot. It doesn't really get us a turn 1 4-drop, but we can easily get a turn 2 Sheoldred. So definitely going to be a good one. I do see that our opponent preordained here. I think that we're just going to pass the turn. We have the ability to Dark Ritual into Orcish Bowmasters if we need to. We're going to let this Merchant Scroll resolve. I have a feeling our opponent is on the Storm deck, the deck that everyone has been playing, the one that ever since Mind's Desire got unbanned. They're now playing it, so we'll see how things go. I'm going to go ahead and go Dark Ritual here, and I think I'm going to start off with Grief. Yeah, let's Grief first, just to see what's in our opponent's hand. Yep, it's the High Tide deck, and the thing we don't want them to have is the High Tide, obviously, but what we were really aiming for was getting rid of their counter spells. I think High Tide is probably the right pick here, so I'm going to pick High Tide. Now they can get another High Tide with Merchant Scroll, but we're going to slow them down a bit, and Sheoldred will be a good answer to Brainstorm and other cantrips. Nice, so Brainstorm doing its thing against Sheoldred. They're going to resolve their Brainstorm, and then they're going to take 6 here. If we can land our Orcish Bowmasters next turn, that'll be great too. Looks like our opponent is going to High Tide next turn, so we're going to just let these Sheoldred triggers resolve. Let's see. Now, Pithing Needle could name Candelabra. Candelabra, as far as I'm aware, is not a mana ability. It just says untap X target lands. So I'd like to start off with Pithing Needle on Candelabra. Alright, so this is going to be interesting. We've shut down Candelabra. We've also gotten... They have, let's see, they have 2 Brainstorms? I don't think they have 2 Brainstorms. They're going to try to combo out this turn. Alright, so that's going to be Candelabra. Yeah, this is fine. Time Spiral, interesting. They could Time Spiral here, but they'd have to remove my Sheoldred. Yep, that's going to be game. So, yeah, like I said, this deck was built not with Mind's Desire in mind. This deck was actually formulated before the ban list update. Not a whole lot that I'd like to board in against this matchup. You've got Surgicals, Chain, Feed the Swarm. Nothing here that really speaks to mind. Abyss. Again, this is not a creature deck that our opponent is playing. So, effectively, almost half of our sideboard is useless. I don't think I care about Dauthi Voidwalker. They don't really have any graveyard shenanigans. The only other thing we could do is bring in Chain of Mephistopheles. I don't know if that's going to be good against them, though. It's definitely good against Brainstorm, Preordain, sure. You can maybe bring in 2 of these. We could also bring in Surgical if we think that it might help. The Surgical High Tide. But the problem with that idea is that if they've already have a High Tide in the graveyard, that means they've resolved one. Because we're not countering that. And if they have a High Tide resolving, they are already winning the game. So I don't think that that's going to be good for us. Let's take out Reanimate and see how this second game goes. This is a very weak hand. I know it's all lands, and it's not unspeakable to keep a hand like this if you have a Saga, but since we're on the draw, I think we can get something stronger. This is yet another weak hand. We do have Pithing Needle for Candelabra, but we don't have any other plays outside of that. I suppose we could Saga, but I don't think this is going to be good for us without any black mana. This hand is a 5 hand, so we're going to keep this. I don't really... So Wasteland's going to be basically a dead card. And I think Nihil Spellbomb is also pretty weak. So we'll just leave it at that. If we can get another... Or maybe if we can get a Swamp or something, we could go, like, Grief. But I actually like the idea of casting Orcish Bowmasters. So we might Chrome Mox our Grief away. And then try to land Orcish Bowmasters early. Well, that's also an idea. Just having Lotus Petal. Getting Ancient Tomb in play. And then we'll just say pass. It's not ideal, but you know, taking 2 damage, but I think we're still okay in this situation. Our opponent's probably being very cautious of Orcish Bowmasters, as they should be. Alright, well this is good. At least we don't take 2 damage from Orcish Bowmasters anymore. Now we could Grief, but I think I'd still just rather hold up mana for Orcish Bowmasters. In retrospect, I think the 8 Swamps might not be good. We'll probably need more than that, or maybe less. Less of the other one, less of Wastelands. Okay, so we're drawing dead here, which is fine. Did they miss a land drop? I think they missed a land drop. Okay, Thought-Knot Seer is actually pretty good. I'm going to just cast this off of the 2 Ancient Tombs. Okay, Force of Will is fine. It is a little awkward to have 2 Chrome Moxes and a Lotus Petal and no black sources otherwise. Because if we draw a black card, we can Chrome Mox it away and then try to cast Grief, but if we do that, we lose access to Orcish Bowmasters. That being said, I don't think we have a dead draw. Yeah, like I said, we'll take anything at this point. And this Saga can get us another Lotus Petal, which is great. Alright, so I think we're going to jam here. I expect a Force of Will. Yeah, that's fine. Our opponent is definitely thinking hard about this brainstorm. They are going to go down to 5 cards. 4 now. I would not be surprised if they have another Force of Will in their hand, so we do have to be cautious. On the bright side, we do have Saga, which means we won't be drawing, we won't be having like dead things to do. And having this other Saga means we'll be able to easily make a Saga token without taking damage. Alright, I think they're going to go off right now. And if they do, we don't really have anything to do. Yeah, that's fine. Another High Tide. Yeah, we don't have we did not draw into our Orcish Bowmasters, unfortunately. Alright, let's see what their hand is. Or rather, their exile. Flesh of Storm, Force Negation. They know we don't have a Orcish Bowmasters. And no way to cast one either. I think I'm fine conceding at this point, because I know how they win. They basically blew Sunzi into a brain freeze us to death, so at this point I'm okay with conceding. Alright, game 3. I still think we're favored a little bit with the stuff that we have. Definitely keeping the Orcish Bowmasters, the Sheoldred. If we can find a way to draw good or have a good opener, then that'll be great. So it all depends on that, I guess. It all comes down to how good our opening hand is. Okay. Alright, this is a good one. Let's keep it. We can get to 5 mana here and try to cast like one of our one drops. Grief is really good with Reanimate, and unfortunately we have not. I know we did board out Reanimates, but I've noticed that we haven't been. We're not really on the scam package in this deck. They're probably thinking about countering this, which is oddly peculiar. Hold on. Them thinking about countering that makes me think maybe I should hold off on this grief. I'm going to hold off on the grief because I know they have a response. They can always just counterspell the grief or force of will it, and that would just be really bad. So I'm going to just play it safe here. Name the one thing that I can name with this Pithing Needle. Okay, Nihil Spellbomb. Probably something we could have boarded out, but it's fine. Is it really something worth boarding out, though? I don't know. It's actually a pretty good card if we're exiling their graveyard, you know, and thinking about things that we don't want them to shuffle back into their deck. Yeah, this is fine. Was it right for me not to turn 1 grief? I'm just wondering if it was a mistake to not do that early. Probably not. I think we're doing okay. Because otherwise we lose like all of our cards just for grief. Now this is interesting. We'll play the Swamp. And then how much mana do we have now? 4. Oh, we're off by 1. Theoretically, we could. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, we're not even close. Yeah, we're not even close. I was thinking maybe we could cast both of these. Let's just go. Let's just start with grief. We're just gonna hard cast it. We know we know they've got the counter spell. We let them do it. If we can land Lodestone Golem next turn, that probably is arguably even stronger. That's arguably probably even scarier than the grief. Okay. So, I think I'm going to jam this Ritual Golem. Or do I just... hold on a second. Do I need to do that anymore with the Lotus Petal? It depends on whether we're going to activate Nihil Spellbomb. I think it's fine to just cast this without the Ritual. And it's fine. If they counter this, that's okay, because we can just draw a card off of Spellbomb and... Oh, okay, it resolves. That's good for us. We've got a clock now. Got a clock and nothing much else. I was hoping to draw a swamp so that we could maybe Ritual, so that we didn't have to worry so much about Ritual here. I think I'm just going to pass the turn. I would like to have one more threat or one more something to really solidify this. If we can win, you know, really solidify that. So we're going to draw a card here. We do get the swamp. A little too late for that. Another Lodestone Golem is not bad. Let's attack with this Lodestone Golem. See what they want to do about the second one. Alright, now it's all up to the gods. Their spells cost 2 more to cast. It's all up to the gods now. That means their High Tide costs 3 mana. And that is GG. So, that is how you do it. This is 4 mana Blitz, mono black, 4-drop tribal. Here's the deck list if you didn't see it from the last video. Hope you enjoyed this feature match. I will try to upload this video later tonight, and I'll see you real soon. Take it easy, everyone.